You know you're special when Scott hand delivers your product. Hello, Scott from STFU Motorcycles. I have a very important question. What does STFU stand for exactly?
Shut the it stands for Scott's Tuning and Factory Upgraded Motorcycles.
Hey guys, Ava here at DC Cycle, and I'm still in my pajamas because my dad thought it'd be a good idea to take this dude from STFU Motorcycles to come talk about some Pistons. So let's just get this over with so I can go home and sleep.
All right, good morning. Got 4 different types of pistons. These are our number 1 sellers that we do. Everything we sell, CP Carrillo, been around forever. In my opinion, the best in the business. For the M8 world, you have a 107 to 128. It can take the Screaming Eagle cylinders, and it also allows you with the big pockets and the wide pockets to do different range of cylinders. You can go up to plus 4 millimeters over stock, and also these right here are a plus 2 net dome, so it allows you to put in any aftermarket cam that we're aware of. We use, I want to say, the 68 X, as we found that to be the deepest with the TDCs as far as cams, and this one and all of our pistons can accommodate all them specs. The other one,
that's a big deal too, you know, with in the world we're in, where you pick your pistons, get your package together, and then you're trying to make the cam and all of it, you know, work together. It sucks when you got to pull pistons back out and start cutting the valve release and stuff in them just so it'll work. When you can buy one from the beginning, it's so much better. A lot of money saved there.
correct, and also, you know, one of the tricks is decking the heads for cylinders, and this allows you to possibly not even have to do it. A lot of people don't realize, like the Screaming Eagle heads, there's a 94cc chamber, and the stock we call 89cc, so there's a 5cc difference right there. So a lot of people ask, well, what's the static? The other factors are important, but having dome is probably the number 1 thing that the other pistons don't have. They're all dishes out there. The S&S's are like a negative 10.5 dish, and the Screaming Eagles are a 9, I believe. So we don't even have anything. The 131's is 0. So you don't want to put these in with possibly a bolt-in cam or a stock cam for sure. And this is where, if you're looking for real power, trying to maybe change your springs or just run different setups than your buddies.
Would you say these pistons were more designed kind of in the classes, like that street class, so that the everyday guy can be on top of everything with them? Not your turbo pistons or your nitrous pistons, but for the everyday guy.
Definitely for the everyday guy, and that's probably the one question I get all the time. Well, I don't want to race my bike and this and that. You know, yeah, just because I race, you know, we're decking these heads, but and getting as much compression as we can, and we run, you know, to the edge that we can. But this, yeah, you can use as much, or, you know, take as much power as you think you can get with them, but these are definitely designed for street. We have a way hotter piston than this if you want to do more racing stuff, but I would call these just all around good performing. You can put them on the street, you can put them on the street. We've run them that way.
You got power off the top of your head? Like, what is a 131 with a good cam usually make with your pistons?
A 131 with stock heads, changing the springs, we normally see 150 horsepower and 150 foot-pounds of torque. That's with a 64 millimeter throttle body, injectors, and all that. So, and that's kind of where my cutoff is with horsepower without doing crank work. So, yeah, 150.
And what is a Screaming Eagle 131 kit out of the box? High 120s?
Something like that. Yeah. It's way down. Obviously, that cam they have in there is terrible. But the other thing is the compression they have in the pistons and their head combination. I mean, a lot of people ask me, well, what's the static on these? Well, it's going to depend on which head. Do you have the CNC heads that are 94 cc, or do you have stock heads that are 89 cc? So that right there would be one part of the equation, you know, and the static being determined there, the cam would be the next part of the equation. When does that intake valve close? So to me, I'll have people come up, well, 12 to 1, that is just super, super high. Yeah, it might be super high for a stock cam or maybe even a bolt-in cam, but these other cams that close late, you have to have that or it'll just fall on its face.
So basically, you're saying then when the guy buys his 131 Pistons, he should bring it to DC Cycle and Racing so that they can get installed correctly. That's what I'm getting out of this.
No, 100%. These are these Pistons are, you know, whenever you start putting them with another cam, tuning is by far the most important part. A lot of people I see try to skimp on it and get can maps and all that, but yeah, like you guys, and you know, that's the way our shop is set up too. It's
how many engines do you build a week on average or a month on these? You're building these every
yeah,
few
but
days.
we also sell and send out so many. I would say us on average probably 2 a week, and we do a lot of cams. I mean, this isn't our only thing. We do cams and stuff as well with exhaust and just tuning. But I want to say right now on the Pistons, we've got over 1,000 of the 131s out right now on bikes all over. And I feel like we've had a couple problems, you know, but I think there were more tuning errors or, you know, maybe not installed properly. But all in all, it's solid.
So same deal then. So if a guy is, you know, he's the guy that wants to do his own stuff, he can call down to your place and he can get a kit. So he can get the cylinder set up, the pistons, the cam that works with it, that you've got experience with, everything that he needs, and then he can run it down to you and let you tune it for him.
100%, and that's what I recommend, and even other shops. And even if, like for you, even if there was somebody around here putting it on, I would tell them to come to your shop and definitely get it tuned. And even heat cycle, man, I don't even like firing these things up without even knowing it's going, you know, what's the air fuel as soon as the bike's running.
So you've been in, I mean, let's get real. You've got people that you work with all over. So more than likely somebody that wants to order this from you online, you can set him up with a local tuner somewhere or something close that might help him out.
For sure. That's that would be the number one thing I would recommend. I always do. I mean, I try to find out where people are at, and you know, sometimes this is, you know, there's a lot of guys that come in on a very, very basic level. And when you get pistons like this, you know, you need somebody that's got some knowledge. It's not, and I feel like that with any kit, man. You really gotta know what you do. There's people simplifying some stuff, but if you're going for the power, you gotta have the proper tune. You gotta have the proper parts. It's the way it is. That's why we stay out front.
Now you were saying you're 150 horsepower neighborhood, and then you think you need to get in the crank. Now we noticed you brought these rods over here. Is this your 150 up rods, or is this more for all-out racing?
This is kind of all-out racing slash what you're planning on doing in the future. To me, haven't seen 150 horsepower ruin a stock rod, but one thing about the stock rods is they have that V shape going to them, and this is a full width pin. Now these rods won't work with a stock Harley one because they have that V shape. You have to have it opened up. So one of the things you would notice is if you did have a stock one on there, when it's coming down, you got the narrower part pulling down on the pin. And I've seen them distort the pin. And if you're going for everything on a motor, you definitely want to try to take care of that part of it right there. So I would guess it really is a budget thing, but if you're going to be sticking around 160 horsepower, you know, maybe 180, you could possibly just, you know, I still say do crank work with the pin, possibly S&S crank, but yeah, the full blown stuff. This is what I like.
So if you're going to get a guy to install that for you, who's kind of your go-to guy?
GRC. They've been Gardner Racing Concepts. They've been with me for probably 3 years and helping me on my racing as well. Dark Horse, you know, Andrew and all them, they're good guys too. There's a couple other shops out there doing that stuff now too. So that's mine. Gardner for sure, and they have been in the racing game for a long time too. So I always feel good when I send it to them, and they got a very fast turnaround.
What's the most off the top of your head horsepower that you've seen on these rods?
240.
No kidding.
Yeah. These are a little bit thinner, the race rod, than the CP Carrillo shelf part rod. So in theory, the rotating mass is down as well. That was purposely done when we first designed these. God, I want to say this was 4 years ago we designed these. But they're very hit or miss. They ran out of forgings, and I believe they're back in stock now. So be able to offer them more. This is actually another size. This is a longer rod, I believe. Yeah, this is center to center, 8.203. So this one's actually longer than stock. So there's them options too. It's just that right now, I would like to say maybe in another month they're going to be more readily available, I would say.
Right.
But that's kind of where that's at. But
Tell me about this monster.
all right, that's our air filter, and I've been having this a couple of years now, and this is a really, as far as dyno proven, I have tried so many different setups, and this one is basically, I've heard them called zero losses from other people. This one's basically a zero loss. So, and I did some testing on it the other day. Pretty much what it comes with, it just comes with 2 standoffs, and the stock cover, when you take it off, it has that little tab, and what you do is you cut that tab off, and we designed this little groove in here, so when you slide it in, it actually fits inside this little chamber, so the tab is hidden. So, and it fits in here really good. I mean, it's, so you have to have these extensions for the standoffs on the inside, but it allows you to use the everyday oval 114 Screaming Eagle, and it performs for sure.
Nah, what is the price on these?
120 bucks.
Yeah, so price-wise compared to a lot of the
Yeah, it's
aftermarket
nice.
setups, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of people like this setup. They like it. They think it looks good. They just want to throw an air filter on it. I know that Thor keeps talking about that for his bike.
Yeah, no, it's
wanting to try it.
It's a very inexpensive way to do it, and I've got it to a lot of different dynos. There's a couple dyno shops that are like, send me 5 of them. It's their go-to one as well.
Right.
So they keep them. And we just did a test the other day. I don't know if you've seen that. It was the 117 CVO one versus this. That was 8 horsepower more.
No kidding.
Yeah, than the CVO 117 one. Because we did a cam test, and I didn't like the results, and I was looking at that thing, and I was like, bring in a back. Let's put a setup on there, and yeah, it was 8 horsepower.
You know, that's what I've always liked about a lot of what you do in your product is you're not just another guy that is putting their stamp on top of a piston and sending it out to people. You're building these engines, racing these engines, tuning these engines, working with cam people, working with crankshaft people. A lot of experience on making a product work good. I keep hearing you talk about y'all changed up to the X forging on the pistons and stuff over time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know. We like using your product, and for us, the knowledge that comes with it, I kind of feel like we're on the friend side of things, so I get to text you, and you let me know your experiences with it, so we can kind of get ahead of the game before we have to try to learn it for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, the tuning part is, like I said, a big deal, and we get to have them conversations, which I feel like a lot of, other shops don't get to have them conversations. Tuning bikes, we kind of know kind of see what the problems are, and you figure them out, and then that stuff's valuable, and it takes also a knowledge. I could tell it to one person, but he's not gonna grasp what I'm saying. It's way up here, so it's way over their head. But if somebody's tuning, so yeah, that's how we work them together and keep these bikes running and keep them running good.
Right.
Well, it's a pleasure doing business with you, but next time come in the afternoon because I'm not getting up.
No problem.